Yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech,
And this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
and you're listening to and or watching the snobOS show, the show for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. You are now tuned into episode 104, and we've got a lot to talk about this week, so we may have to run through some things pretty fast, and then there may be one or two that we may slow down for and talk about those at length a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Before we get started, we definitely want to say thank you to all the Patreon supporters. We've got some new ones that came in this week. We definitely want to say thank you. Without you, we couldn't do all the cool video things and streaming that we're doing now. So if you're interested to become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you get access to our live show. You get access to the pre-show. There are some things that we talk about during the pre-show that we won't talk about during the regular show. And you get access to our private group. Right now it's on Discord, but we will slowly start to migrate that over to a Facebook group because we know everybody and their mama is on Facebook. So definitely, if you're interested, like I said, we've got a new subscriber. So we want to thank Dino Cummings, him and his wife and his family. We want to thank y'all for joining. I actually know them and they have a nice site business that definitely want to shout them out. So if you're definitely interested, we'll put a link to their business. It is Curl Kit, and they do a subscription box for natural hair, different hair care, mostly for the ladies. But I think they, fellas, we typically just use what the wives get. So by ipso facto, it's for men and women. So I'll definitely put a link to the Curl Kit show in the notes so you can definitely check that out. So without further ado, let's get started. I actually reordered some of these things on the docket, so we want to talk about the good stuff towards the end. But before I get into that, I'm gonna get into some of the earlier things. So first thing I want to talk about is some of the older iPhones now have FaceTime HD. So basically, before, when iOS 14 was originally announced, not all the devices got FaceTime HD, but now with the latest, I want to say 14.2 release, now if you have like an iPhone 8 and up, now you get FaceTime HD. So basically, the holidays are coming up, Corona is out here, more people are staying home, being able to communicate over things like FaceTime, over Facebook Messenger, Facebook groups, all these different streaming services, Zoom, HD is more important because we're doing more of that. So if you are interested in doing FaceTime HD, you can, if you're doing FaceTime rather, now you have the option on older devices to do FaceTime HD. Again, like I mentioned, that's for all iPhones, iPhone 8 and up, and then all iPads, I want to say iPad Air 2 and up. So definitely, if you got one of those devices, definitely check out FaceTime HD and let us know. I guess I wanted to ask you real quick, have you find yourself using streaming services more, now COVID is up, or what have been your main method of communication?
It's pretty much been a combination of FaceTime because most of my family are in the Apple family. I think I have two aunts who are on have Androids, but literally everybody else has down to my grandma
Okay.
has from grandma to the pretty much to the youngest. We have a 11-month-old, and her parents are iPhone. So pretty much everybody in the gamut is on iPhone except for those two. So it's a lot of FaceTime. And earlier in the COVID, we would have like Zoom dates with friends. We'd get on, have some food and laugh and wine and kind of gather that way. So those are the two main things, and a little bit of Google Meet, but for the most part, it's been FaceTime and Zoom.
Okay. I'm trying to get my family over to the Apple ecosystem so we can all do FaceTime. Have not been super successful.
Hmm.
So we've been doing. I actually purchased a Facebook portal,
Oh.
the TV version, to where I can connect it to the our home television. So when
Hmm.
Christmas rolls around and my parents, my kids' grandparents, they want to open the gifts and do like that, I'll turn on the FaceTime HD because, again, like I mentioned, everybody and their mama has Facebook. So I figured instead of trying to pull everybody into the Apple ecosystem, if you already got a Facebook account and you've got a phone, then I'll just
Meet them where they are.
I'll meet them where they are. I'll come halfway and then do this Facebook thing. So I'll be setting that up probably next couple of days, and I'll probably do like a little overview, see how I like that. So
Nice.
all right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is we talked about the MagSafe Duo, which is Apple's wireless charger for your iPhone, and it has a charging dock for your Apple Watch. They announced that, a couple of weeks ago, but now it's actually available. But what I want to talk about was the fact that it is $150, and I think we chagrined at that cost. But I'm surprised to find out that you spend $150 for this MagSafe Duo charger from Apple, and you still have to spend $39 for the fast charging 30-watt wall adapter for the MagSafe Duo. It's like, we know Apple was not including the chargers for the iPhones when the iPhone 12 came out, but I'm surprised that this device that is solely exclusively made for charging doesn't come with the charger.
Right. One of my friends texted me. She was like, I got the new charger. It didn't even come with the wall charger.
Right. Well,
I was like, yeah.
yeah. And not only do you have to buy that for an extra $39, of course, it's the holidays and they're pretty much selling out of them so fast that shipping time is like 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know if that's average. I don't think it is, because I ordered some things from Apple. I ordered something from Apple like Monday, and it hit my doorstep today. So for a little $39 charger, for the shipping time to be 1 to 2 weeks, that's pretty serious. People are getting into the buying spirit. So not only do you have to pay extra, you may get it late.
Ah, lovely. Just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. I want to make sure I got the price right for this MagSafe Duo, because it may be more expensive. Is it $150?
No,
it's $130.
When it was first advertised, I think it was $159.
Okay. So yeah.
But now it's showing that it's $129,
Right.
and you can get a monthly payment option. I mean, offering a monthly payment option for a charger is insane.
Well, they got to, because of the stuff we're about to talk about shortly.
Right?
You might have to spread out them payments, even for something as simple as $130 if you're trying to buy it up, live it up with Apple. So yeah, just want to let all y'all know, like I said, if you're looking to buy that charger, which is, I'm not going to knock it too much. I mean, it is expensive, but you can put it on your desk, but you can also fold it up and travel, without taking up too much space. So that's a benefit. But like I said, at $130, and I got to pay extra $40 to get the charger that adequately charges up. Yeah, that's a lot. So, all right.
That I will not be purchasing.
Yeah, no, me neither. I've got enough chargers, enough docks, enough wireless pads laying around.
It doesn't take and we're not traveling, so
right.
I don't have to worry about packing up a whole bunch of chargers where I'm going.
Yeah,
nowhere.
Fast charging is not for me. All right. So let's move into the next story. We finally got a date for Apple Fitness Plus. I was pretty excited about that. So I just wanted to make sure to let y'all know that next Monday, was that the 14th?
14th.
The 14th, you'll be able to get your exercise on, your pre New Year's resolutions workouts on December 14th. That's when Apple Fitness Plus launches. It'll launch with 10 of the most popular workout types. You're talking about high intensity interval training, strength training, yoga, dance, core, cycling, treadmill, which is, running and walking, rowing, which is the thing I'm most interested in, and, cool down. So, you can relax after exercises. So you'll be able to access all of the activities on an iPhone, on an iPad, on Apple TV, and it will synchronize with your Apple Watch. So it'll, on the screen of those devices, it'll show you your current, I want to call them measurements, statistics, your heart rate, your,
Biometrics, is that the
your
word?
biometrics, your heart rate, your distance, your current pace,
Calories.
calories burned,
Yeah.
things of that nature. So I'm definitely interested in that. I think a lot of um, a lot of the programs are on demand, but they're adding stuff regularly. I didn't see anything about live sessions. That would be dope if they did like live sessions to where at 8:30 whatever time you can actually tune in and do something live. But until then, you can actually set it up to where if you want to match the biometrics like your heart rate, calories burned, distance travel from somebody else who did the routine, you can actually kind of challenge yourself to keep up with the best person's race, like a personal record for whomever did the program, in the previous session or whatever the case may be. So I thought that was pretty cool. So if you want to challenge yourself, you can see how you test up against other folks. I won't be doing that part. I'll be, I'll be going at my own pace, but definitely if you're interested, I think Fitness Plus by itself is, I want to say,
Is it 14.99?
no, it's $9.99 a month
Oh, nice.
or $79 a year. And again, like I said, you have to have at least an Apple Watch Series 3 or later. And same thing with iPhone 8 and up, iPad Air 2 and up, or you've got to have a Apple TV. Of course, if you want to watch it on your television, or you can include it with the Premiere, the Apple One subscription. For $30 a month, gives you 2 terabytes of cloud storage, give you News Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple TV Plus, and Apple Music if you've got like that family, which is, I've already signed up for that because we've already got most of those subscriptions. So why not, get the extra Apple Fitness Plus? So definitely want to let y'all know about that. I guess I want to ask you, is this something you'd be interested in, or do you do something else for a workout?
I'm definitely interested in it, but I'm interested to see some of the programming first because I did the Peloton when they at the beginning of COVID when they were offering the 3 months free, and I really liked their programming,
Okay.
and they had some live stuff as well.
Right.
So I'll be interesting to see how the programming matches up because I didn't buy the full subscription of Peloton because I was trying to see how the Fitness Plus was going to kind of flesh out. So I'm interested, definitely. And it's what, 9.99 a month, so
Right.
it's not bad at all.
Right.
Because I don't use I was looking at the Premier one. It's the value's not really, worth it for me. The shared, I mean, I'm just one person.
Right.
And then I don't do Apple Music. I have Apple TV Plus, but I don't really care about Apple Arcade or Apple News Plus or the cloud storage because I already have enough cloud storage.
Right.
So yeah, so just the one-off Fitness Plus subscription would be, enough for me.
Okay. And, like we mentioned before, it's integrated with Apple Music. So, if you've already got Apple Music subscription, that's already set up to where they loop that right into the workouts to where, you're already familiar with Apple Music. You're already used to your playlist. They'll all weave all that together. So nice little ecosystem of, offerings from Apple. All right. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about in the regular Apple lowdown. The next one I want to talk about is the AirPods Max. This is what was referred to as AirPods Studio, which is the over-ear AirPods from Apple. They announced those yesterday. No big event. No, one last thing. It was pretty much, Apple Store opened up and everybody got to see what these new AirPod Max look like. More importantly, how much they cost.
Right. So with the announcement, I saw someone, I can't remember, I saw it on Twitter and someone said there's something coming out on Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. and people were trying to speculate about what it was. And I know one of the things they were speculating that it was the over-the-ear AirPod. So I had made a mental note to check and then I got busy. And then when 9 o'clock hit, I was like, oh, snap. There's supposed to be something from Apple. And I went on the Apple website and I saw.
Yep. These are the AirPod Max headphones. They come in white, they come in space gray, they come in a pink or a rose red color, and they come in a blue, sky blue color, similar to the iPhone 12 colors, and a green, light green color. We'll try to put a link in the show notes so you can take a look at those. Like I said, they ain't cheap. Before I get into before I get into the price, they've got the Apple's H1 chip with 10 audio cores. They've got the active noise cancellation. They've got the transparency mode so you can hear things around you while you're listening to music. They've got the spatial audio to where when you turn your head, the sound will follow you around so you can get that fully enveloped sound. They've got these mesh part over the top that fits all your different heads with the telescopic size where you can get it right around your ears. They've got this memory foam. They've got a noise control button, and there's also a digital crown similar to like your watch where you got the crown on there. They take that same aesthetic, that same hardware, and they've made it enlarged for this AirPods Max to where you can scroll the volume, you can click it to change the music, you can answer phone calls, play and pause, all that good stuff. I'm gonna keep going. You've got these 40 millimeter dynamic drivers for the subwoofer and all the good stuff that you would expect.
All the audio things.
Right. All the things that you would expect. They've got this nice little purse that goes in that puts the AirPods into this hibernation sleep mode so they conserve less power. You can get them they've got a gyroscope and accelerometer. You can track your head movement. They come in, you can get them in they've got, based on what you're listening to, 5.1, 7.1, and Dolby Atmos. Music also automatically stops when you take your AirPods off. All of that for the wonderful.
You can interchange the colors.
Yes.
Little mesh things. If you have a white shell, you can get you a blue, cushiony thing.
Right.
That's a very technical term, cushiony thing.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah.
They've got all that, adaptive EQ, all the things you would expect in high-end headphones for the wonderful price of $549. Of course.
US.
Right. Of course, that's what everybody took to and ran off with. Everybody and their mama has said, can't believe these cost this much. There's no way out.
iPads for this.
So I've seen posts about that. All the things you can buy instead of AirPods Max. So I say all that to say these are expensive. I've got a pair of the Sony WH-1000 XM3s, not the brand new ones that just came out, but even those, when I purchased them, they were like $250, and those by far were the best headphones I've ever purchased. Now they've got the Sony WH-1000 XM4 and they've got the Bose 700, and I'm gonna just do a quick search about how much those things cost because I still think they are nowhere near the price of these AirPods Max. Let me make sure I do a quick search. You can get the Sony WH-1000 XM4s for around, I want to say $250 to $300 for those.
You can basically buy two of those. For
Right.
One of these.
Right. And then the other one was, I think, the Bose 700. I think there was Bose 700 are a little bit more expensive, but they are, I want to say, around $339. So these AirPod Maxes are the most expensive consumer noise canceling headphones on the market. Now, if you are the super duper DJ and you've got the audiophile, right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are some headphones out there that are in the high thousands range, but by far
you're using those for work if you're a DJ or an audio engineer or something of that vein.
Yeah. So all that to say, these are expensive, Nevertheless, all the jabs and about how expensive they are, never in my right mind would I buy some. How dare Apple come out with something like this in the midst of COVID? It's so insensitive, all the knocks. Nevertheless, you cannot buy a pair and get them before Christmas because they are all sold out. And I would say, according to things I've read, you can't get them until I want to say January is when you'll be able to get a pair, provided that you go to the store and see if you can snag some when they release on the 15th. Yeah. They pre-orders. Yeah, pre-orders started yesterday when they announced it, and they'll actually ship or be available in stores on the 15th. So as expensive as they are, people are scooping these things up, present company included. I went ahead, like I said, my birthday's coming up, so that was my excuse. So I went ahead.
Birthday gift to yourself.
Right. So I went ahead and plopped down for $549. I was going to get the blue pair, but I was like, that's too much blue. I can just deal with a blue phone. For the headphones, I stay with the black one. So I got the black pair. And yeah, they'll be here next week. So,
Oh, so you got them in time for the 15th?
Yeah. I'm compulsive. When I want to get something, 5 minutes. I don't care if it's a phone, headphones, a car, or a house. When it's time, when I get the approval from the CEO, the CFO of the family, when I get to go ahead, I got them. Right. So that's my birthday gift and my Christmas gift and my birthday gift for next year for myself. So I guess the question is, are you intrigued by these and are you interested?
I am intrigued. I'm probably going to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to figure out what to get myself for my birthday, and I never did really do anything for, my graduation, because my plan was to take a trip, and I figured by this time it may be safe to, go out of the country somewhere, and that's like, nah. So I'm trying to decide. So I'll get two things. I'll get something for Christmas and something for graduation. So I'm trying to decide. I've been looking at jewelry. So I'm trying to say, if I get jewelry for one and get a piece of tech for the other, I'm just trying to figure out what it is, because I know a new iPad Pro is coming.
Okay.
And that's really what I want. So I'm definitely intrigued. And I know that I've been talking about a new MacBook Pro. So that's on the list. So I have to really decide.
Yeah, you really have to decide, because these things are half the cost of a MacBook. And
the M1.
And they're just headphones, right?
They're just headphones. So.
Right. So,
but yeah, they look very interesting. So I'm definitely intrigued. I'll probably eventually get them.
They are.
It just needs to. It's just in the order of the things that are. I already have 3 Apple things on my slate that I want. So it's one of those things of deciding, prioritizing which one I want more.
Right. So. And they look like what you would think Apple AirPods over-the-ear noise canceling headphones would look like. The design, they've got the video to where they don't have Johnny Ive, but they got a close kind of feel of the layout and how it looks and how it's engineered and how it's made and the sound technology. They've got a video. We'll make sure we put the link to the video, how they lay out the video, for the rollout. And, they look what you would think, with the exception of this weird looking case.
Purse?
Yeah, it's a purse.
I've seen some people show it as a bra.
Right.
That was like on a mannequin. That was funny. So, people got the jokes. So
the
jokes are definitely fine. But is it true that it doesn't come with a 3.5 millimeter jack? But that's how you connect it with a 3.5 millimeter jack?
Well, so the thing I said that I purchased and it got here today already was the Lightning to 3.5 millimeter jack. So it's wireless, but for $550, I don't think they could only make it wireless. So you can connected to, a 3.5 millimeter jack. So my guess is, the part that you plug into the unit is lightning, and then you can convert that to 3.5 millimeter jack to go into a computer, to go into some
A
other
mic.
a mic or a mixer or something in that case, because you're paying $550. These are going to probably replace every single pair of
Everything.
headphones. Right.
But the only thing is, you know how we love the continuity of Mac. There isn't Apple branded in these unique colors, uh, 3.5 millimeter jack.
Yes, they do. It's a you can get
Oh,
them.
it is.
You can get black or white. I don't think you can get the blue or the red or the green, but you can get black or white. So of course I got the black 3.5 millimeter cable. But one thing it does not come with, following along the same lines of the MagSafe Duo, is the charging adapter. So you're going to have to either buy,
Replace the one you got already with
right,
your iPhone 12.
right, or purchase the $39 one that you can charge, do the fast charging, things of that nature. So I didn't buy that because I've got enough of those bricks laying around as well. But I did, like I said, I did pay for the lightning to 3.5 millimeter adapter, so I can plug it in and do the show, for example.
So for 549 US American dollars, they could have included the 3.5 millimeter jack.
Yes, they very well could have. I think what comes in the box is the charge cable. So the
The lightning to
to
USB, I'm looking
to
at the lightning USB cable
right.
and the smart case and of course the headphones.
Right. So, yep. So again, like I said, so not complain. I mean, it is expensive, right? But one thing that I've stopped doing is clocking people's pockets,
Right.
because the one thing I see people do is anybody who purchases these AirPod Max headphones, y'all just got disposable income and y'all ain't worried about COVID, and y'all to crazy
And
to spend something, like this. And, you know, my thing is, why are you watching other people's pockets? Now, if you can't afford it,
that's
or
on you.
that don't,
Or you don't want to pay for it, then
right,
you don't have to. No
right.
one's saying you have to, but you want to be a part of the cool kids, you want to be in the club, and since you necessarily, I don't want to say you can't be in the club, then you outside
And
trying to get in
right,
upset.
right. And I think people, I think it's cool. I think it's trendy to make fun of Apple products because of how expensive they are, because of all the, the
Fan base.
praise. Right,
Yeah.
right. It's just kind of like, to be contrarian when it
Yeah.
comes to Apple is kind of trendy, kind of what the cool kids do, like you mentioned.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's like everybody's got a vice, right? So you may think it's crazy to spend $500 on a pair of headphones, right? You'd be the same person that would turn around and spend 30, $40,000 more for some vehicle that you can spend $10,000 and get a regular old car that does the same thing. Take you to work, take you home, pick up your kids from school. But you'll spend, the luxury vehicle. You'll spend, and people say, "Oh, but that's no, it's
And not even that. They will spend $250 on a Gucci belt
right,
and wear it everywhere.
right,
So you have your preferences. I know just this week, over the last couple of days, it was a big hubbub on social media with Cardi B.
right."
Her fans were going in on her. You talking about buying an $88,000 purse? You could give that money to this. You could give that money to that. And she's like, but I do. She was like, I've given away millions already. It's like, my pockets aren't the same as Cardi B's pockets. So me buying the uh, headphones for $549, that's like her buying her $88,000 purse.
Right,
Our checkbook's not the same. Our
right.
balances aren't the same. So $88,000 for her might be $500 for me. So I really, and I think she ended up doing some sort of apology, and I'm like, why?
Why?
If you want to spend $88,000 on a purse and you can afford to do so, then do it. You don't even even if she hadn't already been so generous in her philanthropic things, she don't have to. That's
Right.
that lady money.
Right.
It's out of her pocket.
Right. And comparatively speaking, you ain't giving your comparative amount to
Right.
charities and whatever. You struggling to pay off credit cards for buying stuff that you couldn't afford. But yeah,
You still paying off last Christmas, and we're already at the next Christmas.
right.
So
So,
stay out of people's pocket
right.
and let them
So,
buy what they want to buy.
exactly. Now, again, these joints are expensive, and I'm
Hmm.
going to talk about how expensive they are. But what I'm not going to do is get on people for
For
deciding
buying them.
this is what they want to purchase, because just a couple weeks ago, people are paying double and triple what it costs to buy an Xbox and a PlayStation.
Hmm.
These same moms that are probably complaining that these AirPods cost too much are mad at people for because they couldn't get the PlayStation or the Xbox for their kid in time for Christmas because they're all sold out everywhere. And those are about the same cost, and they are the same thing. They're just entertainment, So it's like for you to, say this is stupid for this one thing and not say everything that costs more than what you can afford is stupid. That ain't fair, right? So,
Right.
but having said that,
They are still a grip, and
yes,
nobody is not saying that they're not.
right,
But if you want to purchase them and
right.
you can, then live your best life.
Right. I know people who will spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for a ticket to a sporting event.
Hmm.
And then we'll turn around and say, oh, these things are too expensive to purchase. I'm like, man, you you got one use out of that Super Bowl ticket. And yeah, you got a memory. Yeah, but you also got a high credit card bill too with
Hmm.
interest.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
all right. So unless you had anything else to talk about the AirPods Max, I guess that is it for the lowdown where we talk all things Apple. Let's move into second string where we talk tech in general. One of the things I wanted to bring up was the fact that Google Maps now lets users submit street view photos from their phones. So if you're familiar with Google Photos, you can get an address to a location or destination, but you can also go to the street view and kind of see a street view of the location or whatever, provided that the Google car or whatever company that they contracted to drive by with their camera to take a picture of is a current updated picture. I've seen some crazy pictures from Google Street View to where the Google car drove by just in enough time to catch something crazy. So, if you are out and about with this latest Google Maps Street View, you can actually take a picture of a location or a tourist site or a statue, something popular, something recognizable, and you can actually submit that through the Google Street View. So I'll just read a little bit more information. The Google revealed a new beta feature that will allow users to submit their own photos straight from their phones or of places that they aren't adequately represented by Street View. Using the Street View app, just take a series of photos as you progress down the road you're trying to capture, and Google's AR core tech will supposedly stitch them together to make them work as a street view experience. So I just thought that was pretty cool. It's like they're crowdsourcing, Google Street View, to kind of supplement what they wasn't able to catch or, update something that's been outdated. So I just thought that was pretty cool to where if anybody's interested, you can actually use your phone to actually help Google out.
Nice.
All right. So that's all I wanted to do, to talk about that. The next one is speaking of crowdsourcing, Amazon is rolling out their sidewalk feature. And basically what this is if you have a Amazon Echo device, if you have a Google Nest device, if you have a Amazon, no, not a Ring device. Yes, Amazon Ring Video, those doorbell video cameras.
Hmm.
There is a feature within all of them that is currently enabled that will utilize your bandwidth to connect other people's devices together to create almost like a mesh network specifically for these devices. Now, inherently, I don't necessarily have an issue with that, But the issue I have a problem with is it is turned on by default. And you, as the user, has to figure out what this thing is. And then you have to go into the settings of this particular device to turn it off. So again, as everybody's at home, you've got parents, working from home, you've got kids doing school from home, you've got all these streaming devices, you've got a lot of cable cord cutters who have turned off their cable and only have internet, but yet you've got these other devices that are not only using the Wi-Fi that you paid for, you're also sharing your bandwidth with other devices. So again, like I said, I don't have a problem with that inherently, but it's just I would expect that feature to be turned off, and then they roll it out and say, hey, if you want to take part of this program, go into the settings, blah, 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 and then turn this feature on. So then users can share, and then you can do all the cool things, but they kind of turned it on on the low. And then you got to go through and find out from some tech podcast, for example, that this thing is turned on, and you got to go through the settings to actually turn it off. So I just wanted to get your opinions on, this sidewalk feature. And do you think, this is something that should be, you already mentioned you don't have any of those devices, but I guess how do you feel about the idea of having to go in and turn this off versus going in and turning it on?
Yeah, I think it's the setup to just get more data because people are more likely to not turn something off if it's already on. If you want to use something, most people like to, ooh, I want to use this feature. Let me go and turn it on. But if it's already on, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's one of those things where you don't really think about it. That's just the way it comes. So you just kind of roll with it, out of the box, so to speak. So I just think it's just another way to capture even more data. And I think it's a slippery slope to have it automatically enabled rather than giving folks the option of enabling it. Because like I said, 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to go in and turn it off.
Right.
They're just going to kind of roll with how it is.
Right. And, the whole privacy thing, you may not want to share your internet bandwidth with other devices because one, again, like I said, in my house, we need every inch of bandwidth we need.
Right.
I don't need to be sharing it with nobody. And even though this is probably a good idea because, if you have people who breaking into cars or, heaven forbid somebody break into your house, if your camera didn't catch it, somebody's camera across the street, a neighbor or whatever. So you can actually make a network to where you may be able to ward off criminals or protect the neighborhood. Right. But the fact that you're turning it on and forcing people to go in and turn it off, it's just like you can't, like you said, they know that people are just going to roll with it. There are people who are not even going to know about it so they can get away with it. It's like, why would you feel like you have to get away with a feature that's supposed to be so beneficial? If the feature is so beneficial, tell everybody about it, spread the good news and say, hey,
and allow people to opt in if they please.
Exactly. So it seems like there's something that's trying to be sneaky. It's like, why would I want to turn on something to help you out when you're trying to be sneaky?
Yeah.
So
people are already leery of certain companies anyway, and this just feeds more into it.
Right. And maybe they knew that and it was like, all right, well, let's try to push this through because we know.
Let's find a way around it.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think the last thing I want to talk about was, speaking of the new normal, we're talking about, people staying at home. Well, most of us are staying at home. There are some people out here wilding.
Straight wilding.
But most of us are staying at home, and that is kind of taking a hit to our movie going experience. So I guess Warner Brothers has decided that they're going to launch every 2021 movie on HBO Max at the same time that it hits theaters. So they're going to stream this to your house at the same time you could go to the movie theaters and watch it. So I guess I wanted to get your opinion on how do you feel about this? How do you think the movie theaters are going to react? What is your overall impression? Is this a good idea? Are people going to pay for it? What do you think?
I need to upgrade my TV because I already have HBO Max, and I watched recently last week the new live action Mulan movie, because
Right.
you remember
Mm-hmm.
that was going to be a big deal, supposed to be in the movies. It didn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could pay to watch for like $30, or you could wait until December to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, me being me, I waited
Right.
and I watched it, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is honestly what people have been asking for. Let me watch movies early in my house. I'll pay a premium to them.
Mm-hmm.
This was even before COVID.
Right.
And now, Warner Brothers and HBO Max are changing the game. And now I just wish I had gotten a bigger TV on Black Friday,
Yeah. Right. Right.
because it make my own little like home theater. Because at this point, the amount of money that you're saving, if I was smart and thinking, but again, Black Friday was just so overwhelming this year. You buy your own very large TV, get you some club chairs, mount the thing on the wall, set up your own little like movie theater,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and you can do it. And now you're getting actual films that are streaming in theaters right to your couch.
Right, and these ain't no slouch movies either. So
No.
we did. I paid for the Mulan thing and watched that with the kids at the same time. We thought that was cool. Again, something I've been waiting on forever. You kind of mentioned people have been kind of clamoring for the ability to pay more. It still be in the movie theaters. We're not taking it from the movie theaters and moving it to your house. It's kind of like a parallel thing. You pay
Mhm.
extra streaming at your house, or if you still want that movie theater experience where you got the crowd and you got the whole environment and the 15 surround sound, do your thing. Everybody gets the option. But all that to say, these ain't no slouch movies. So I'm gonna read some of the titles that are coming out. Being able to stream in your house. So you got Judas and the Black Messiah. You got a Tom and Jerry reboot. You've got Godzilla vs. King Kong. You've got a new Mortal Kombat reboot. You've got Space Jam. LeBron
With
James,
LeBron,
right? Yeah, yeah. You've got Suicide Squad. They got another reboot for that. You've got Dune. I don't know if you remember the old Dune movie. They got that reboot for that. They've got Matrix 4, right? So,
or
right.
with
Keanu Reeves.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So these are going to be some good movies that
Mhm.
people who are trying to be obedient and willing to stay home, but are also still want to be a part of the movie experience. This is a way for them to pay more, still get their money, because these movies are still going to be out in movie theaters. You got the vaccine coming out, so that's going to embolden more people to go venture out. Again, not a good idea, but you know how it's going to be. They're going to do that anyway. They can still go to the movie theaters and see it. But for us, I've got these expensive headphones now. You better
So you can
believe,
get your surround sound feel.
right in my earball, in my ears, right?
Right. And I haven't cut the cord, so I have a cable package that already has HBO. So I got HBO Max free. It is
Okay.
included in my package. And I have a Samsung Smart TV, so I just downloaded the HBO Max app to my TV, and I'm all set.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So again, like to me, this is the best of both worlds. Of course, some movie theaters are going to, cry and complain. What's the popular Zack Snyder? I think one of those popular director producers. He already said HBO Max is the worst streaming service. I'm like, that you just sound like a
Sure.
hater. You sound like a
Sure.
hater.
Yeah. Sure it is. Sure it is.
Yeah, so they're already complaining about how this is the worst, but look, like you said, this is the new normal, and we're never going
Get
to
on
go
board, because
right.
this train's already left the station.
Exactly. All it took was one to do it, and you'll see others do it. Fox will start doing it. Sony will start doing it. A lot of these movies will start going to Netflix. I want to say,
Mhm.
like last weekend, I stayed up all night long and watched a couple movies that I never saw. They never announced it as a movie theater, box office movie. But I mean,
Mhm.
it's just as good. There was a couple
Mhm.
of them.
Netflix has some really good original movie programming.
Yep. So, all that to say, streaming is where it's going, with all the surround sound, you've got Sonos, you got HomePod, you've got, all these, you can create that
You can
movie
create
theater,
the
movie
movie theater
experience.
sound. It used to be so expensive. People are, oh, you have a home theater. It was like, oh my God, you must be rich. but you can get you some sound bars, get
Mm-hmm.
you, some standing speakers. It's already your living room, so I would assume it's already fairly cozy. Pretty much everybody has a flat screen TV. If you want to get a bigger one, if you want to get the curve, whatever the case, you can build your own home theater for not a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like you said, it was only a matter of time, and
Yeah.
that ship has already left port, so they might as
Oh yeah.
well jump on board, right?
Exactly.
All right, all right. So that's all I want to talk about in second string. We're gonna move to for the culture, and we've got a new versus coming up. We've got Ashanti versus Keisha Cole. Now, the last one, not Gucci Mane versus Jeezy, but the one before that with Monica and Brandy.
Brandy.
I kind of got on them because my claim was they don't have enough hits. They don't have enough hits. They don't have enough hits. Nica said, "Oh no, they've got all the hits. They've got all the hits. They've got all the hits, and they had some hits." So I'm gonna carry that conversation over to this one. Do they have enough hits to do a versus? And I want to get your opinion on that.
So I think they do, primarily because Ashanti is a writer
Okay.
and she's written a lot of music for a lot of famous people. So if she can go into her writer producer bag, I think she's good.
Okay.
Keisha Cole, I saw people talking because it's like, it's all this slander about these two, and, don't forget they did this or that. So apparently, based on the internet, they do have it. I'm not a huge Ashanti and Keisha Cole fan. They have some bops that I kind of got down to, back in my youth. Um, but they seem to be into it. It's not on the Brandy Monica level,
Okay.
but people are definitely excited. I saw one person say, "This is the versus for girls who broke up with their boyfriends on loose leaf paper." So that's the rundown of that. So I don't know. Depending on what the chatter is on Twitter, I may tune in. I'm not.
Okay. So you're
I'm
not
not.
not jazzed about this one as previous ones, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm not. It's probably going to be a good time because versus Twitter makes versus fun.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just going to keep it honest. Versus should be paying Twitter something because that's what's keeping it really going because people are on social media talking about it. So it'll be interesting. And like I said, I'll play it by ear. I'll see what the streets are saying once it starts um, and see if I tune in.
Well,
So,
it's kind of hard not to, if not tune in, not be in orbit of
yeah,
it.
you're always going to be in orbit of it, especially if you're on Twitter.
Right.
Uh,
But, they've kind of grown this platform to where they've got merchandise now. You can get T-shirts, and they are
you got
seriously.
officials calling in.
Yep, you got elected officials calling in. They've got a nice platform. So it'll be interesting, to see where this goes. Does it stay on Instagram? Does it eventually go to something separate to where they can even monetize even more, or do they even want to? What is the future of this versus thing? Because it's pretty popular. Doesn't sound like it's going anywhere, and people are always coming up with these fake battles of who they want to see next. Whether it be Ti versus somebody, and they're talking about, for whatever reason, everybody wants R. Kelly to do one, but you need to read the room on that one. You may want to
Don't do it.
right.
They're already dragging Michelle on social media today about something she said about R. Kelly.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah, so apparently he was her mentor or something, and she was like, "Oh my God, I wish he was here because I'm trying to do this classic R&B album, and I just really need his input, and he's the only one who could help. I wish he was here." So of course she got dragged from either to yonder. And then she came back. "I'm not agreeing with what he did. I've talked to some of the girls. You have to be able to separate the artist from their art and blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anybody was hearing that mess.
Right. And people always got to separate until that's your kinfolk, and then she'd have
Right.
been knocking down the doors trying to figure out what's going on. So,
Right.
but it'll be interesting. Like I said, Swiss Beats and Timberland have had to really, really expound on or shut down some of the rumors. Everybody wants Little Kim and Foxy Brown, and they just down the line. So all that to
They're
say,
trying to figure out who can battle Missy, who can battle Mariah, because there are some people that are just so top tier. There's nobody that can really battle them. So they're trying to, of course, social media is trying to figure out ways to pull a Missy in, a Tim in, a Jay-Z, a Beyonce, a Mariah.
right,
They're trying to find ways to pull these heavyweights in who really there's nobody for them to versus unless they're versing themselves
right.
because their catalogs are just that strong. So
Yeah, but all that to say, it is popular, and they've got something, so it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see where it goes. So, all right.
Yep. And I just added something. I forgot to I was gonna mention it in second string, but I decided to bring it over to for the culture. It's regarding Google. So just this last week, one of the biggest and most well-known execs at Google was fired abruptly, and her leader sent out an email saying she resigned when she did not. She was actually fired. She is the premier AI ethics researcher at Google and is pretty much known throughout the industry as being one of the best. She sent out an email regarding to the way that she felt she was being treated at Google. And the next thing you know, they fired her. And the reason she knew it was because her email wouldn't work. They immediately pulled her email access and then sent an email out to her team and her co-leader saying that she resigned. So the person I'm talking about is Tim. I hope I don't butcher this name. I probably am, but Timnit Gerber.
Brew.
She's of Ethiopian descent. She's
Okay.
Ethiopian American, and she is an extremely well-known computer scientist that focuses on the AI ethics space. And she pretty much live tweeted her firing on Twitter. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is she's a Black woman. She's an exec at a hugely well-known company. She's an expert at what she does. And she was fired for basically commenting on how the company treats minority employees. And the fact that the head of the AI division at Google, Jeff Dean, not only fired her, but also sent out an email to her team saying that she resigned when she did not,
Right.
it's very disheartening. And what this conversation brought up on social media is other Black women in the tech space. I'm a Black woman in the tech space, so I can definitely, see where she's coming from. And it just really brought up a lot of feelings from other Black women. I know two of the Black women who were hugely successful at Pinterest who were fired because they wanted to be paid equally. And they've now since sued Pinterest. So it's one of those things where it's the daily treatment of Black women in these tech spaces who provide and offer so much to the community and are expected to be happy with the crumbs you're given.
Right. So that's
space, so be happy with that.
right. So that's the conflict, right? Because a lot of the owners, CEOs, founders of these companies expect people of color, Black folks specifically, to come in and just be happy that you are right. But they know, those being the owners, CEOs, know what people are going to do is they're going to come in and be a positive benefit to the community. Some of the backstory with Miss Gerbrew was that she wrote a paper, and the paper was going over how some of the AI with Google, specifically her parent company, and some of these other companies that are full speed ahead with artificial intelligence could be biased towards minorities. And we've talked
Right.
about that time and time again on
Yeah.
this show. I'm just a regular system admin, but we know and we've read and we've heard about the biases that could be developed or built into artificial intelligence, right?
Hmm.
And I think Silicon Valley has always tried to say, okay, we're non-biased, we're just scientists. There's no way that the
Race
technology
doesn't play a role
in
into
technology,
our algorithms. Yeah.
right? But she, being this well-renowned, super smart, person who is into artificial intelligence, has said no. You can actually code racism and bias into technology. And I don't think that's what Google wanted to hear. So I think that was kind of like the springboard for them to say, okay, well, we've got our eye on you because how dare you speak out against this technology?
Yeah, they wanted
And
her to
then,
pull the paper.
right, they wanted her to pull the paper. She didn't agree. So that was kind of like strike one and strike two, and then, like you said, when she mentioned that she posted this email criticizing the company's treatment of minority employees, case in point, how they treated me when I put out this paper that exposed some biases and racism as it relates to AI and Google. Then that was kind of like, all right, well, like you said, how dare you, use your position to enrich and to,
You're an exec at Google. You
right,
should be singing our praises
right,
from the mountaintops. You shouldn't have any dissent, even though it's been widely spread the demographic and racial inequities within Google prior to this even coming out. There have been story after story regarding people who've worked there who've been discriminated against, whether you're black or whether you're a woman, I mean, or both, and particularly in her case. So I just think I don't think that Google expected this big of a backlash, because I think about what 800 people within the Google space and within the AI space have sent done an open letter of support for her. I don't think this Jeff Dean thought that he would get this amount of heat and
right,
blowback, because it's just one person. I'm just firing her. It's no big deal.
right,
Not taking it, and that's another issue. You don't fully value what this woman brought to your organization, even though you knew she was a star, even though you knew she was super smart, even though you knew she was on it when it comes to her expertise. You thought, this is just a black woman, I can fire her and go about my business, and it may buzz around the office a little bit and then it'll be done. I
right.
don't think they expected over 800 prominent people to come out and support her. Now they have egg on their face and they won't make a comment, because I'm sure a lawsuit is forthcoming.
Right, and
And
she,
it's
and she documented all of her, conversations. She's published a lot of them. Story I was reading was she recounted her most recent experience in the email as an example of why she had given up on advocating for diversity inside of Google. And this is her quotes: "Stop writing your documents because it doesn't make a difference. Your life gets worse when you start advocating for underrepresented people. You start making the other leaders upset when they don't want to give you good ratings during calibration." So, I mean, she is her own example of how, these tech companies feel as it relates to underrepresented communities. Like you said, shut up, be glad you're here. You're working for us. You're making a lot of money. You get to show
Mhm.
up on social media. You get to go to talks. You get to go to, we send you off to these
People know your
events. People
name.
know your name. Shut up. Right. And when we don't, it's like, how dare you? Right. So it's
The
just
nerd. Yeah.
exactly. So, it's just, I mean, what's new under the sun? This is just another high ranking, minority, you know, person who, again, we
subject to this abuse.
right. And it's us, me being a techie, I just can't be a techie, because externally people are going to judge me as a black techie, and internally I'm going to say, okay, I'm a black person, I've been afforded this opportunity, what can I do to bring more people? Because it's like we can't just be ourselves, and that's that whole privilege that we talk about. I can't just be me, I can't just be Terrance. I have to be a
You got to
father.
represent for all of the things that you are. You're a black man, you're a black techie, you're a husband, you're a father. You have to represent for all of those spaces, and you have to carry that weight when you shouldn't have to. Our counterparts don't have to. They just get to be Jim and Bob and go about, their life like they are, unique because they are. But as a black person, we aren't seen as individuals, we are seen as standard bearers for the whole culture and the whole community, and it's exhausting. And I completely get where she's coming from. I've faced these same type of things in my career. I work for a very large company, a very well-known company. I'm in their on their tech side of things. And I made a tweet today. I think I said being a black woman in tech means overly editing your email to not come across as bitchy to your mostly male fellow developers. It took me, there were some issues that were going on that I needed some clarity on, that needed some pointed direction, because there were some things that I needed to do my job that I wasn't getting. It took me probably about 40 minutes to write the email because I wrote it. Then I had to step away and come back and edit it, move some things around, add some soft language in there, kind of placate some things, and, just to not come across as being a bitch in the email, even though I'm sure some of the people who read
We're
it
just fired.
still
Yep.
said, you know, oh, the nerve of her. I'm so sick of her. And I'm the type of person that is very vocal at work. I've stood up for, other female minority employees who were being discriminated against, who were being talked down to, who were being spoken to in a way that they should not have. And, there are just some things that I can't sit back and do. I know some people is like, you know what, that's not my business. I'm gonna, protect, and I get it. I'm gonna protect myself. I'm gonna protect my job. I'm gonna protect my livelihood, and I 100% get it, because in the spaces that we're in, we aren't usually afforded that opportunity.
Very few
But
and
there
far
are some
between.
things, yeah, and there are just some things that me personally, I'm not going to allow to happen in my presence. And in those times where I've stood up, I've gotten fellow male coworkers to immediately ping me. I was one, I'm glad you said something. I would have said something because this was XYZ, this was not good. I'm like, but why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say anything? You allowed me to go out on the limb and put myself out there when you wholeheartedly agreed with what I was saying, but you weren't going to put yourself out there for that. And I know that there are people who are either intimidated by me at work, who think I talk too much, who think I'm too vocal, who think that I say too much. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that, because one thing that I am going to do is advocate for myself. I can't rely on an executive champion, because that doesn't always work. And as a black woman, I don't always get those opportunities to have an executive champion, even though all of the execs in my org, oh my God, you're so great. You do this, you have this skill set, blah, 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 all that stuff. But those are just words. Words don't mean,
Right.
anything to me in that respect. Words do mean things, but in that respect, if you're just going to say all those things, but you aren't going to put any action behind it, then you might as well just shut up
Right.
and not say anything. So it's one of those things where someone else could have done this exact same thing that she did, but because she's a black woman, she got fired. And had a white woman done this, a white man done this, and probably honestly a black man done this, they would have not gotten this same treatment, because a lot of times, I'm just talking from my experience, Black women are expected to be the mule. You're expected to do all the work. We have to be 5, 6 times better, smarter, which we usually are, and we're still paid 63 cents on the dollar. So it's one of those things where, it's exhausting, it's tiring, it's infuriating, it's frustrating to have to deal with this. And one of the things that she said was, with all of my privilege, the one we're talking about, Timinant, she said being an exec, having a supportive boss, having a supportive co-leader, having a supportive team, and I still got treated this way. She said, I can only imagine how the average Black woman is treated on their job
Without
daily.
all of that support.
Right. And she's 100% right.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, like I said before, nothing new under the sun. We're going to continue to have these issues until, the powers that be start to recognize that, there are some people who deserve the shot who do not have the same background, are going to have different experiences. And this culture that you've created is just not going to be for everybody. And if you're not willing to evolve, if you're not willing to grow, these things are going to continue to happen. And hopefully, eventually, the shame that goes along with doing something like this, maybe it'll, at the very least, get people to, straighten out just a little bit. But again, that's a long ways down the road, because
Yeah,
it
but
keeps
these are the
happening.
same yeah, and these the same companies who had the Black Square, who after George Floyd was murdered, after Breonna Taylor was murdered, after Ahmaud Arbery was murdered, we love our Black employees. We are a diverse company. We have DE&I, programs. We are firmly against those types of activities and behaviors, and be the main perpetrators of
Yep.
said thing.
Yep. So,
But it looks good because they made a statement
right.
and they put a Black square on their wall. And I've seen a lot of people say, have you followed up with your company based on the statement that they put out this summer? Have you seen actual changes in your company, or was it just for show?
Yep.
And I'm going to be honest, 99% of the time, it was just for show.
It was trendy to be, all Black Lives Matter during the summertime. Then as the
Yeah.
things
Have that
started.
in your bio. Have your little Black Power fist. Make your little graphics and such. All lies.
Yep. So, not surprised. All right, so that's it for the culture. Let's move into the hookup real quick. Me and Nica are in Georgia. As the voting season, the election season has died down for most of us around the country. In Georgia, we are knee deep into the election cycle. Like Nica mentioned
Yes.
earlier, we've got commercials back to back to back of these two particular Senate seats with Kelly Loeffler and Raphael Warnock, and then Purdue. I can't. Is it Bill Purdue?
John Ossoff.
No, yeah, what was the
David Perdue.
David Perdue? Okay, and then John Ossoff. Full speed ahead. We've got commercials back to back. Also, we're still getting text messages. So you've got text messages from everybody, every single side, saying, "Hey, vote, vote, vote. Your vote is important. This vote matters. Vote, vote, vote." So one of the things that I came up with was, you can actually edit your default replies on your Apple Watch to quickly unsubscribe from these text messages, because similar to email newsletters, they have to require a way for you to opt out of these text message blasts. And the way you opt out on the text message is you reply with the word stop, right? So instead of every time you see one of these text messages, you get your phone, you open up the message, you type the word stop just to unsubscribe, there's a way you can actually go in and edit the default replies to where when you get that message on your Apple Watch, you can click the message, you can scroll up, tap the word stop, and that'll automatically unsubscribe you. So we'll put a link in the show notes. You basically have to go into your Apple Watch settings on your phone, and then once you get into the messages portion of it, get into the default replies, find the default reply that you normally don't use, and just edit that and put the word stop. So then the next time you get a message, you can go find that quick reply, click stop, and then you're automatically unsubscribed. Now, you can't go in and remove your name from this list because there's so many lists out
Your
there.
name is on so many lists. Anytime you've donated, anytime you signed up for anything, anytime you've retweeted something,
Right.
even your voting registration.
I'm pretty sure they dug your data. You're the data person. They probably dug in, pulled out your your phone number, and put it on 50 million thousand lists. So,
Yep.
at the very least, you can go in and quickly unsubscribe versus having to go through and funnel through to try to get all that stuff. So I actually wrote that story for PC Magazine. So I'll be sure to put a link in the show notes so you can actually click that link to read more, show me some love. I can definitely use the page views and, also to, set it up so you can quickly unsubscribe using your Apple Watch. So that is my hookup for the week. And if you don't have anything else, I think that'll do it for this week's show. Definitely download, rate, and review us. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, and we're also on Spotify. You can engage with us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We are at snobOS Cast on all three of those social media platforms. You can definitely watch us on YouTube. We're on YouTube at snobOS Cast. Be sure to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, make sure we get our names out there. If you want to leave a comment or suggestion, you can do so on our website. We're at snoboscast.com, or you can shoot us an email. We're at snoboscast@gmail.com. Finally, if you want to support the show, we're trying to branch out here. We're doing video. I got my little lighting thing together. All that little bit helps. If you want to be a supporter of the show, you can definitely go to our Patreon site. We're at patreon.com/snobOScast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to our pre-show. You get access to the live show taping where we talk about some things that will not be on this actual show. And you get access to our Discord chat for our private group where we talk about tech in general. So we definitely want to thank our new snobOS for this week. That's what we call our Patreon supporters. We want to thank Dino Cummings and the family. We greatly appreciate you for becoming.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being a new Patreon supporter. And with that, we are out for this week. Peace.
Bye.